Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and a court in the United States has ruled that President Trump does not have the authority to impose his economy melting tariffs regime. This sounds like a blow against Trump, and although he will not be happy at a court challenging the first king of America's authority, he could actually use this to his advantage. I think America needs to be quite careful here. But first, for daily news and commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So without even knowing how Trump is going to react to this yet, because he didn't immediately say anything, as far as I can tell, I can see the victim status whining coming. The Court of International Trade has said that Trump is overreaching his authority in imposing the tariffs he has. This is because they need the authority of Congress, who have not approved them. But one of the key features of Trump's second term is that he has sought to bypass Congress wherever possible by declaring emergencies. The same is true with tariffs. He is claiming that the balance of trade is a national emergency and that because he thinks the tariffs will correct the perceived problems, he has the authority to apply them using legislation designed to allow the president to take unilateral action in the event of a national crisis, which even a child could see is nonsense. Now, there are a couple of reasons why this balance of trade is clearly not a national emergency, apart from the obvious one that America has the largest economy in the world and controls the world's reserve currency, so it can't be doing too badly. But one argument often reported in America is that, look, the USA has run a trade deficit with the world for 49 consecutive years. So if it wasn't an emergency for 49 consecutive years, it can hardly be described as a national emergency now. But the second is that this deficit isn't a real deficit anyway. It's absolutely true that the total value of imports into the USA is greater than the total value of exports. So, yes, a deficit. But the reason why 49 consecutive years of this have still allowed the USA to not only be richer than anyone else, but extend that wealth beyond other countries is because a lot of these imports are from American businesses who just happen to be operating elsewhere because it's cheaper. So quite a bit of what America imports is actually American. And the success of American businesses around the world allows the USA to exercise considerable economic power to cement its role as not just the world's largest economy, but most powerful country politically. Being the richest and most powerful country in the world is not an emergency for that country. Might be for other countries, not for that one. So now a federal court has said so. Of course, an appeal has been lodged. It could potentially end up with the US Supreme Court, and who knows what they would say. But in the here and now, Trump does not have the authority to pursue his tariff agenda. Although at the time of producing this video, as I say, I don't know what Trump personally has to say about it. The White House issued a statement. It is not for unelected judges to decide how to properly address a national emergency. No, it's for Congress. That's kind of what those judges are saying. No court is saying that the USA's elected representatives can't impose their tariffs. They're just saying that the elected representatives with the authority to do so do their business on Capitol Hill, not in the White House. But I would like to hazard a guess as to how Trump will play victim on this one. Because unless and until he gets a successful appeal, which is not likely to be overnight, the tariffs are currently unlawful. Trump, in theory, has 10 days to suspend the tariffs. It means businesses who had to pay the tariffs can get a refund with interest. It also means that Trump won't be able to use the tariffs to either raise revenues or threaten countries unless he gets Congress to go along with them. Now, maybe he can get them to agree to his universal 10% tariffs. I don't know. Even that's bad for US businesses. But I really can't think he's going to get them to agree to his mega tariffs when Republicans have such weak control of either house. And Trump chose to take unilateral action, I think, for two reasons. First of all, Congress would not agree to the level of insanity favoured by Trump. And secondly, what they will agree to takes too long and consumes too many resources. So Trump is not going to let this go. And I don't just mean in terms of pursuing appeals, which may well work because the judicial system in America is not remotely independent. So far, Americans have been reliant on not judges being independently minded, because they're not, but prioritising the Constitution above a rogue president. So far, it seems to have worked, but it's not a robust system. Trump will claim that the ruling is tying his hands in getting America good trade deals. He now has an excuse when at the end of this 90-day pause, he can't show Americans these great trade deals. He will say they were all teed up, they were ready to go, and then the court ruling let those countries off the hook. And because Trump insists that the trade situation is somehow a national emergency, won't be long before he's calling the judges enemies of the state and threatening similar tags on any judges who do not agree with him at appeal hearings. I would expect him to go at this very hard and use it as an opportunity to further cow the judiciary, increasing his ability to take unilateral action on whatever he wants by simply saying it's been done to deal with a national emergency. And I'm going to guess that he won't be complying with this court order to cancel the tariffs, which could actually make the UK government look vaguely silly, I suppose, for agreeing a tariff reduction for illegal tariffs, although I suspect it won't be a big deal here. The Tory media are unlikely to call it out because that means calling Trump out, and the ruling will make no practical difference if the White House refuses to cancel the tariffs anyway. And if there's no automatic enforcement of the court order, then yeah, the tariffs are still going to stay in place. And given that Trump has completely ignored other court orders, I'm not seeing how this will be any different. I'm not a legal expert, I'm only speculating. Interestingly, the markets rallied on the news. Now, I've got two thoughts about that. First of all, again, it should tell Americans something. So investors abandon the markets when Trump does something, and then they flock back when either he or someone else announces a reversal. That should be sending a message. But secondly, I can't help feeling that some of these investors are a little bit dim. What makes them think this court order has changed anything? What makes them think it does anything with a president who has a history of ignoring court orders? And a Congress which has not lifted a finger to defend either their own sovereignty or the judicial system. I mean, if there's any practical benefit to this court order, it is not yet evident. People are just sort of assuming, oh, it's been declared illegal, so it'll stop. Will it? Will it? Maybe it will. I don't know. I've seen no evidence it will. Trump will claim that the judges have ruined his negotiation master plan. And although I'm pleased at the ruling, it is slightly annoying in that the MAGA loons will not have to come up with some impressive mental gymnastics at the end of the 90 days when Trump has no trade deals to show off. They'll just say, well, the judges just didn't understand the art of the deal and wrecked everything. This tariff war isn't over. It's not even clear Trump has lost anything yet. Like I say, he's gained an excuse for the failure of his strategy at the end of 90 days. Even if an appeal takes place quickly and Trump wins, let's say it happens by next week, he can still claim it completely derailed his careful strategy. It's all in ruins. And if Trump never wins an appeal, even at the Supreme Court, I'm still not clear how anyone makes a president with no respect for the rule of law comply with judges he has nothing but contempt for. And if an appeal does succeed, Trump will then have the ammunition to claim that any judgment against him is wrong, and that this is proven by the fact judges don't even agree with each other and the judiciary aren't doing their jobs properly, so they should not be allowed to meddle in the affairs of presidential orders because they keep getting it wrong, right? So as much as this has been hailed as a victory against Trump, and maybe it will be, I'd just wait a while first. Until something concrete happens, nothing has changed. Trump may actually use this to his own advantage. In fact, maybe the reason he didn't respond angrily on Truth Social immediately after the ruling is because he's secretly quite pleased about it. We'll see. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.